everyone. Welcome to the Shamans Cave. I'm Renee Baribeau.
And I'm Sandra Ingerman. Welcome.
And if you watched our show last week, we talked about water and what goes hand in hand with water, but the moon. And the beginning of this year, I said, I'm going to keep this moon journal. I got it from Hay House in my Christmas authors package. And I was like, oh, I'm going to keep this. And I didn't. But I've certainly become more aware of the phases of the moon this year just by the very intention of saying I think I'm going to pay a little more attention. So, how do you pay attention to the moon? Sandra, are you a moon tender?
Yes, I'm definitely a tender. There's no doubt about it. I've had this uh, particular ability of bringing partners into my life who are the most sensitive people to the moon that I have ever met. I lived with a man once. I've never met anybody more sensitive to the moon. I always knew the phase of the moon by how he was feeling. And so I learned how to track my feelings because how was I feeling at those particular times of the moon? And now my husband is really sensitive to the moon, so I track him like I did my former partner. But it's so important. I can't tell you how important it is if you really understood how the moon really affects the tides of the water that moves inside of us, just like it does outside in the sea, and all of our water sources are affected by the phases of the moon, and we don't track it. We don't track it. And so a lot of our angst, a lot of our depression, a lot of our anxiety is the moon is trying to move us either in or out, that ebb and flow. And we don't take the time to see when we would be supported in our greatest health and emotional health if we would be more out there during a particular phase of the moon and allowed ourselves to go within and to listen to our soul and our spirit during other phases of the moon, we would move into a flow. And without flow, we're in disharmony.
It's interesting. Two things came up. So, a lot of you listeners don't know, but to me, the moons are all about reflective of our cycles, and that everything is a cycle, and that there's bigger cycles, and there's even bigger cycles. And I'm happy to be at the end of a cycle, probably one of the mini 7 year kind of cycles. And about I just learned that my whistle maker, who's will do a whistle making journey at the end of this, but passed away with COVID. And it was like it was the end of a cycle because I wasn't expecting it. It was like it was like all of these other things were ending. Why would my whistle maker die too? Kind of like woe is me kind of an attitude. But then I was told to do a whistle making ceremony because there's a group of 800 or 900 people out there who have the original wind whistles that he made. And I was said, okay, well, when should I do that? Well, the day after tomorrow is the full moon. And so we did a full moon wind whistling ceremony where my four strong wind whistlers were holding the anchor points, and all this whole story come about how under this full moon we're going to have a stairway, and all of these souls that have departed recently with the COVID. It was kind of a like they might have known for their whole life that they were leaving then, but there was this moment where we allowed the souls to go up with the full moon. And it was really a beautiful ceremony, and people, all of the spirits were so polite. There was like they were just so grateful for this opening under the full moon. And if anyone's interested to watch that ceremony, it's over at the Wind Clan. We did it, where we did a Facebook Live for that part of it's a really good journey, especially if you've lost something in this last moon cycle, to, give it there. And but what was the other thing that really struck me, I guess it's my turn to babble, Sandra, is that we were doing this moon cycle thing, and right in my inbox, your inbox is one of those synchronistic places if you treat it that way. I get a thing from the Farmer's Almanac, planting by the moon's light. So you plant your annual flowers and vegetable that bear crops above ground during light or the waxing of the moon, from the day the moon is new to the day it's full. But you plant your flowering bulbs, your biennials and your perennials, and vegetables that bear crops below the ground, like carrots, during the dark or waning of the moon, from the day after it's full to the day before it is new again.
Mm.
Isn't that, it was like, what, how timing perfectly is that? So if we take that and look at our life, like, so what are we growing, what are we growing for this year? And that's kind of the ritual we'll do later is, what are we growing now? And that, we'd like to future trip all the way down there. And that's what we'll have to do after the full moon, and then, plant those things that are going to go deep into the earth. I just thought that was funny that it just came in right when we were getting ready to do this show on the moon. So the
Yeah,
plants want to talk to us too.
and incredibly profound.
Right, exactly. It's kind of so I guess, like, even with the passing of Gregorio, the whistle maker, it's like that's a cycle of deep grief that his family and his friends and even all of the Wind Clan. I mean, I'm sitting on the video crying, like, and I never even got to meet this man in person because it was something I kept putting off. I'm going to go down to Mexico City. I'm going to go, and we put off a lot in our lives, and then all of a sudden it's gone. And, and luckily the things that are constant are the cycles of the moon or the cycles of the sun, or, all of this thing, and the water. I don't know where that was going, Sandra, so you're going to have to pick up from that point somehow.
Well, I think basically you said in an incredibly profound way is that we are always experiencing impermanence, and we don't always listen to the signs. I wished I would have called this person, or had a feeling to call somebody and then they died, and we never got to say goodbye. But in this time of impermanence, and in this time of the unknown, we have the moon as a compass, we have the sun as a compass, we have the water as a compass, and we have the earth as a compass, and we have the nature beings. One of the things that came through me yesterday, and when something comes through me, you hear it everywhere, is not only are we reaching for nature, nature is reaching for us too. And so we actually have natural forces that are calling to us to reach to them, and the moon is one of them. The moon is a real way of finding stability in such a time of impermanence.
Have we done a show on the nature beings?
Oh yeah, we've done many different shows on the nature beings, but we can always do more, because the thing I love about doing work with the nature beings, and if this is something people are actually interested in, is we can do groups to go talk to different nature beings on the planet and to meet them and develop a relationship with them, and have them talk to us, not as messengers of do this, do that, but talk to us as them, as their species, as what's coming through them.
That's interesting, because I told you I had my first tree from last year when we started, and then this year it was like, okay, time for a second tree in the development. And my new tree likes me to sit with my back to it and, feel supported. It's like more the first tree has another relationship, but this one seems to be more of a supportive kind of a tree, like physically supportive. And trust me, everyone, until I met Sandra and we started talking about these things, I don't know if I didn't pay attention or whatever, but now I probably, if I stay in this development another 20 years, I'll have 20 new friends out here that I didn't have, one at a time. So I have to stay focused, one tree at a time, because that's just how, like, I roll. But
Maybe you'll be the home of when I was teaching in Joshua Tree. One of the people in my workshops, sent me 10 seeds, Joshua Tree seeds. And up until recently, I had two of them made it. And as you know, Renee, they grow really slow. One of them just died, and I'm
oh,
heartbroken because I really don't know what I did. But one of them is up to here. I mean, it's amazing.
oh, how great is
And
that?
so my plan has always been that to bring it back to Joshua Tree and plant
Oh,
it in the earth.
well, I'd be happy to do that for you when the time is right to do that.
Thank you.
The the trees, I think, I don't, back last winter, I shared a lot of pictures of it when we took a ride up to Joshua Tree in the winter when the snow and, oh, there was just nothing so stunning as that. That's just a beautiful area too.
Yeah,
Sandra and I both live in the desert, but we live in different deserts, so
yeah.
it's just one big desert. Uh, but I don't know if you know that my first spiritual experience was when I came to New Mexico and did this retreat. I can't even remember with who or anything, but when you were talking about in the last show about the rivers, we did this rafting trip on the Colorado River, which begins in New Mexico, or do they have a different name for it up there? Or,
Well, it goes through.
yeah, it
Uh,
connects.
mhm.
So. Well, are we ready to do a little journey? We're trying to keep these a little shorter because we've
Yeah,
noticed how long people watch. I mean, the nice thing about YouTube is you can get your statistics. And so we're trying to make them pertinent, short, and something that you can go back to it. And a lot of times people ask me, hey, do a show on this, and it's already on the wall. So if you're looking for a show, put it on the Shaman's Cave, and I'm happy to go dig through and tell you, with the link to go back and watch it. So, so we're gonna do a calling down the new moon now we just saw that we use this time for the new moon for planting the annual seed. So this is for immediate transformation, something you want to transform in the next month. All right, this isn't for the long-term transformation. What's interesting, the wind that I pulled for it though is Sila Inawa, the Inuit wind of wisdom, and it's about embracing our divinity. So, what do we want to call down the moon so that we can immediately embrace our divinity? Because if we know that everything is connected and we're all divine, we tend to just start to make better decisions for ourselves, our community, and as we make those better decisions for ourselves and the community, the world around us is automatically included, right? So it's going to be a short journey, and it's going to be a wind journey. We're going to call to that inner wisdom within us to know what needs to be worked with. All right. So I invite you to close your eyes. And for this journey, imagine yourself outside in a field or on a beach, one of your favorite places in nature. And look up and see that there's a full new moon in the sky. And we're going to ask Sila Inawa to be with us here. And ask yourself, what do I want to bring forward during the next phase of the moon? What do I want to plant? Be clear and be specific about what you would like to plant in the earth in the next 30 days. What seeds you want to grow. And then using your fingers, write that very specific thing in the air. For example, I am requesting a new project that will provide me with X amount of income. I am wanting to take daily walks. Just write it in the air. And let Scylla Inawa come and take that idea. She's taken all of our ideas and she says, oh, there's a lot of them. And she's tied them up for now. And now we're going to call to the light of Grandmother Moon to come down and light up this windbag of ideas. And as she's lighting up the windbag of ideas, Scylla Inawa is going to ask us to bring in the moon's idea for us for the next cycle, the next 30-ish day cycle. So call down to the light of the new moon. And ask Grandmother Moon, what do you want me to plant? What do you want me to grow during this next phase? And just take note, does your idea, what you want to plant, does it match what the moon wants for you? And be with that. Be with that, with this light of this new moon and through the next cycle. And see if you can start to bring into harmony that which you want to plant and that which Scylla Inawa, that divine light inside of you, wants to grow.
That was beautiful, Renee. That was really, really beautiful. So thank you.
Mine didn't match.
What was that?
Mine didn't match.
Match what?
My idea of what I want to plant
Oh,
and what the moon wanted for me with the divine
yeah.
help of Scylla Inawa were a little bit off.
Yeah.
How were yours?
Well, you know, what I really appreciate about the spirits and ceremony is I've learned to trust the spirits, that when they tell me to ask for something that's different than what I was going to ask for, to follow that, because I was going to get myself into trouble.
And I think that was true. So I think that was true in my case. So they said, we could care less about your projects.
Right.
We want you to be a divine light, you know, that you plant that light so that it can shine even brighter.
Oh, nice.
So I would love to hear over at the Shaman's Cave what you know, what your two ideas were, and were they in alignment, or, did Scylla Inawa and the moon have a different message for you than what you what thought you had? And let's have a conversation about this. I think it's an important conversation to find out where and where not, where we are and where we're not in alignment with our own cycles.
Yeah, that's really important because it goes back to what I talked about in the show last week, and I've talked about on many shows. If you're not in alignment with the moon and the forces uh, that keep this universe running, you're out of flow. And if you're out of flow, um, it's a tough place to be able to um, get good health, improve your life. Flow is everything. And so listen to what the moon is sharing with you and follow those cycles. They're important cycles, and people have been following them since the beginning of time. And I just also wanted to say that please watch on the Shamans Cave and Shamans TV. At some point soon, I'm going to be announcing a free introductory call that I'll be doing on July 20th about what happens if we're still walking through the challenges that we're going on. What happens to our personality, and how do we keep going so that we don't drown in what's happening in the collective or what's happening in the world, but we learn how to stand up into our power, and we stand up and we learn how to thrive. And to do that, we have to walk through the dark night of the soul. And this is something I feel at the age of 67, and I've been through so many times that I feel it's my destiny right now to share the compass of how to get through the dark night of the soul. So we'll write about it on Shamans Cave and Shamans TV, but I hope that you'll join in for this free lecture.
Absolutely. And there'll be links in all of the other places as well. So look for them and make sure that Sandra's talked to me about this new course. And I really believe that anyone who's ever experienced any of the uh, any of life or needs her course. So I'm going to encourage everybody I know to take it. All right, Sandra. So follow us over at shamanstv.com, the Shaman's Cave. You know all the spots. Share it and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's hit 7,000 this week. All
Yeah,
right.
thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the moon.
Right?